Niftħu dan it-tielet programm b'Alexei Dingli li se jkun qed jippreżenta sistema avvanzata għall-immaniġġjar ta' traffiku.
Hi Sharks, my name is Alexei Dingli and today I'll be presenting Digital Traffic Brain. I'm asking for €1 million for 40% equity. Digital Traffic Brain is an advanced AI system aimed at making journeys faster, smarter and safer. So Sharks, did you ever realize that in your lifetime you spend around 5 years stuck in traffic? We're talking about 5 years, no? What could you do in 5 years? No? Spend it with your loved ones, go on holiday, no? Pursue a new hobby maybe. And that's not really the worst part of it. Every 2 minutes, so, since I started my pitch over here, there were 2 fatalities somewhere around the world. So traffic is not only costing us time, but also lives. Apart from that, I haven't even started talking about the economic impact of this. If we consider just Malta, just this year, we're talking about €400 million. That is the cost of traffic in Malta, so traffic, pollution, and all the other stuff associated to it. Now, of course, you tell me, so, there are solutions today. Well, the current solutions are made up of feeds of cameras and sensors going probably to a control room, and there's a bunch of people trying to make sense of all of that. And I'm sure you appreciate that, when there are hundreds of cameras, hundreds of sensors, this doesn't really make sense. So what I'm proposing today is the Digital Traffic Brain. So essentially, we are using an advanced AI to integrate with the current infrastructure of the transportation system, but then analyzing the traffic and taking decisions. And that is the big difference from other systems. Other systems stop at the analytical part. We are going the extra step. So we will actually change and make inference on what's happening in the road network to make actual change. Of course, you might ask, why should you trust me? Well, behind it, it's not just me, there's a team of other people, but if I just present myself, I've been working in artificial intelligence for the past 20 plus years. Apart from that, I had the honor to serve as the mayor of Valletta for 10 plus years, so, I can see from both ends of the spectrum. So, this is not just about technology, but it's about the application of technology to make a positive impact in the life of people. So far, we have the basic components of the system, so, everything is pretty much in place. We also pass through an IP check, so now we're also looking at patenting our technology. But now we need to go to the next step. So the next step is about the optimization. The next step is about getting better hardware so that we can scale up, and of course, the marketing and the sales of the system. Now, of course, this is not just a system, but it's an opportunity. When you consider the wider picture, the traffic just in Europe, it's about 270 billion yearly. So this is a very big problem, and we have a lot of work to do, as you can see over there. So, Sharks, would you like to buy the traffic with me? Thank you.
Hi, Alexei. Thank you for coming today. Cannot agree more with you that we have a very, very serious issue, not just in Malta, but wherever you travel in the world. You skimmed very quickly through the process. I would like to understand better, can you mention at least 2 salient points or 3 salient points from this project, how I would benefit as a driver on the street?
Yes. So, first of all, you as a driver, as a commuter, you need the most effective route. Now, of course, you might tell me today I use Google Maps, Waze, or whatever, to give me the route. But that doesn't take into consideration what's happening throughout the network. So even though we might leave from point A to point B, the system will probably give us the same route. If you have a centralized system, it will balance those routes amongst the entirety of the system. So that's the first thing. The second one is the monitoring of traffic. So we know how many accidents happened even in Malta and throughout the world. So by using the camera system, which is already in place, by the way, we will analyze what's happening on the roads and of course take action immediately when there is a problem and not at a later stage after the accident actually happens. There are other case studies, like for example, when it comes to emergency vehicles. Lots of times they get stuck in traffic, or maybe the bus system.
Google Maps does study the traffic impact, right?
Yes, but it gives you a solution just for you.
Yes.
So here we're saying, listen, we're giving you the best solution, but also keeping in mind the balancing of the entire network. And that is the main difference, because the balancing of the entire network is not being done.
So let's say I left from Slima this morning. You have 1,000 people leaving from Slima. Balancing would require us taking some different routes at some point.
Yes.
How would we all, the 1,000 people leaving, be instructed or be given the guidance to actually lead to the balancing of the network?
Okay, so that can happen through a custom app. So that can be one of the options. But ideally as well, we would integrate into the existing solutions as well.
So you would need to sell basically your software which to Google or something like that, or could you use it on your own?
No, we could use it on our own. Of course, we would partner with companies like Google. As I said, most of the softwares that exist fall short at the analytical part. So they would analyze the traffic, then gives the reports and whatever. We are going a step further also to the actually changing what's happening in the network. So like the example I gave before, where we switch on and off the traffic lights so that cars can pass. This sort of intervention, if there's a tidal lane, we would close one lane and open the other. Most of these interventions are done manually today. So we would be taking over that part. The system report around a 15% improvement in the network.
So the system will be able to integrate with the local system network of traffic lights and all of these things. So that's you're making it compatible.
We are providing the brain part of it.
So basically, the government is the client as well.
Yes, of course.
Have you reached out to Transport Malta?
We did. And the fact
and the feedback is?
The feedback?
No, it's very positive because, of course, they have this network of cameras already in place. Now they're integrating the data from these cameras. But, you know, here we're talking about even the next step where it's actually the AI sort of controlling what's happening on the network.
But if I'm not wrong, there aren't cameras in every corner of the island.
No, of course not. But in the main roads, there are cameras. I believe in Malta, it's about 400 cameras. They're high-resolution cameras, 4K cameras. So
used by Transport Malta?
Yes.
Okay. And the government would pay, sorry, Michael, you would pay to have this service?
Yes, so our idea is that it would be initially there's an installation part, because of course we need to integrate with their system, and then the second part would be a subscription base to analyze the data.
And the generation of income, from where does it come?
And that's what I wanted to
ask. Well, remember, a part of the system is also enforcement. No? So before I gave you the example of the traffic accidents. So imagine I'm speeding up. With such a system, practically you have a speed camera on every road. No? So the enforcement can be a way of generating income.
Is that allowed?
Well,
without informing the driver?
But it's already happening today.
But the revenue from this kind of enforcement goes directly to the government.
Yes.
So you get a percentage of that.
This is pre-seed, right? It's still happening. But the concept has been evaluated and has been designed. I would like to ask you, what would be the implementation timeline, more or less, to have this out and implement it? And more or less the cost you would need to reach the whole goal, because I think 1 million would not be enough. You would need a lot of investments.
Yes, I have the same thought.
Yes. The biggest problem with this is not really the basic components, but the scaling up. Because imagine when you have a feed of 400 cameras, it's a lot of data. So we need to process that quickly. So a big chunk of the funds will go, of course, to the human resources, because we need to work on that, but also on very powerful servers. We're estimating there's another 1 million euros on just servers to process those huge feeds of data.
Can't you outsource to a data center?
You can, but then you have to be careful about the issue of latency.
So implementation time would be more or less what?
We start in the first year and then we start selling after the first year.
And what would be the final investment of the product?
I would say about 2 million in total.
And it doesn't exist anywhere else, the system?
As I said, there's to my knowledge, there's one which is based in China, but that's the only one that goes up to this scale.
To the scale.
Yeah.
Let's say you go to Transport Malta, you present this. How much are you charging them?
I can't tell you that exactly because it depends really on the extension of their network. Revenue, I can tell you that our estimate is that in the first year we'll make $500,000 and then we'll double that every year. So that is what we're planning. But of course, it's not just based on one city or one locality. Yes.
If you're using Malta as a pilot, based on the income generated from this one big city, the model can be extrapolated.
Yes.
But I'm not clear about...
Cost of Malta is 2 million, so we're going to UK and we're going to add...
No, the cost of the system per se, I mean. But,
Yes,
But then remember, it's not per country, it's per city, yeah? I mean,
city.
you know, sometimes we think in scale of big cities, but there are loads of medium-sized
There's going to be
cities.
more need of more investment if we're going to go
But
overseas.
once you have the main system in place, you know, this is software we're talking about.
So what is the 1 million going to be used for? Because in your presentation, it mentioned servers.
Yes, yes. So it will cover parts of the server, all right? So it's not the entire cost. But the idea is to have this sort of this brain living on the server. But it's not the infrastructure, that is just for the processing. The infrastructure we're using, the infrastructure of the cities.
Yes?
Yeah.
We're connecting it
I
to
got
this, analyzing, and give them the results.
By eliminating hardware from the equation, in my opinion, you're improving your scalability. Because you're not spending so much of your funds in capital investment. So, in Malta, in this 1 million, you factored in the acquisition of hardware, right? Why don't you strip it out and put the bill on the customer, like you plan to do it in other towns?
Okay. In actual fact, that's what will happen. When Mark asked me and I told him 2 million, one of our ideas is that 1 million, which will go almost exclusively for hardware, will come from other sources. Okay? But to start, we need the hardware urgently to start working on the scale-up. So it's more an issue of time at this stage.
I mean, for me, you are like the Steve Jobs of Malta.
No.
That was a nice compliment.
I start blushing.
I turned it down.
I mean, this guy has been doing some super things. I think what I'm not seeing in this pitch is the commercialization part. So,
which plays an important...
I would make you a proposal in absence of lack of financial data, etc. But obviously having full trust in your abilities and in your legacy, I would be happy to give you the 1 million ask you are making, but for 50%. But I would add to that I will be, or my team will be responsible for the commercialization of this process. So you will take care of the implementation and execution, and I will be taking care of connections and internationalization of the process. Plus, I would also be happy to add another 300K in working capital, because we would need money to move forward. So I'm putting on the table a 1.3 million offer for you.
Mr. Bayan, I feel honored really with your proposal. I mean, I've been following your career as well, so I know your journey, and it's definitely something I would go for. So thank you very much.
Well done.
Well done.
Hey. Congrats.
Well done, Rosa.
Wow. You're acquiring a genius.
That was the program. You're investing in the guy.
Well done.
You're investing in him.
The guys, I think.
I'm really pleased, first of all, you know, because the Sharks showed confidence in my abilities, and that's always flattering. But also because our system can really make a huge difference in the lives of many people. So I think that's the most important part of what we're doing here. So I'm really grateful, and I look forward to start working on it.